Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty different. We've got this, well, it's not really a book, more like a pamphlet or a very, very long letter, but it lays out this, well, let's just say, very unique take on health and diet.
Always interesting to peek into someone's, strongly held beliefs about food. Should be fun to unpack this.
Yeah, I mean, the author definitely doesn't hold back. Like, right out the gate, sugar's public enemy number one. Insulin resistance is like the root of all health problems, they say.
Yeah.
Got to cut out LL sugar to even begin to fix things. Pretty drastic, right? Yeah. I mean, is there any science to back up being that strict?
Well, going completely sugar-free, that's a tall order for most people. But I will say the author's not totally off base about sugar's impact, especially when you consume a lot of it. You see, when your cells start resisting insulin, the hormone that helps process glucose, that's when problems arise. Glucose builds up in your blood. You increase your risk for all sorts of things: weight gain, type 2 diabetes, even heart disease.
So, yeah, cutting back on sugar makes sense, but what I found really interesting is how the author almost makes it out to be this, like, conspiracy. They even mention, and I'm going to quote here, the alphabet people, like some shadowy group pushing sugar on us. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but it's clear they see sugar as way more than just a personal choice, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're clearly concerned with how much sugar is just everywhere in our food, especially processed stuff where it can really sneak up on you. And this actually ties in perfectly to that 1992 food chart they included. It's like they're advocating for a total reset, going back to way simpler eating.
Yeah, that chart is wild.
Yeah.
It's all about whole, unprocessed foods, pulses, greens, nuts. That's the foundation of the diet, according to this thing. I mean, talk about a contrast to how most folks eat these days, huh?
Right. And it really reflects this idea that all the modern stuff, the additives, the processing, is what throws our bodies out of whack. Those unprocessed staples, they're packed with nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants, all the good stuff, and none of the added sugars, preservatives, artificial this and that the author's convinced are at the root of so many health problems.
And they get really specific, too. Like with fruits, green apples and berries are the go-to. Everything else is pretty much off limits. What's the thinking there?
Sugar content, plain and simple. Green apples, berries. They're lower in sugar compared to a lot of other fruits. Fits right in with that sugar is the enemy philosophy, keeping those insulin levels in check.
Makes sense. All right, let's move on to what they call clean meat. Basically, beef, lamb, goat, deer. They argue those are essential specifically for B vitamins and absorbing those fat-soluble vitamins. They even suggest, like, if you're mostly plant-based, still work those meats in sometimes. So is there actual science behind this? And how does it connect to their whole philosophy?
Well, it seems like they're working from this idea that those types of meat are what we were like designed to eat back in the day. And they're not wrong about B vitamins being important, especially B12, which you mostly find in animal products. That stuff is crucial for energy, brain function, keeping your cells running properly. And they're also big on how fats help you absorb vitamins like A, D, E, and K. Those are essential for everything from immunity to your bones, even your eyesight.
Right. And they even bring up Eden. Like, we're not as resilient as humans used to be, you know?
Yeah.
Almost like we were meant to eat these simple foods, and all this modern stuff has made us weaker somehow.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the core of their argument. Like, get back to a way of eating that's more, I don't know, natural in their view, and you regain some of that lost resilience.
Interesting. And then on the flip side, there's shellfish. Big no-no, according to the author. Too many toxins, too inflammatory. Does cutting out shellfish really move the needle on overall health, though?
It's not a totally baseless concern. Shellfish, yeah, they can be nutritious, but they can also kind of act like sponges, soaking up toxins from the water. And for some people, yeah, they can definitely trigger inflammation. So it really comes down to individual sensitivity and whether you can even source high quality, clean shellfish.
And then there's fish, but only with scales. They tie this back to some religious stuff, which we won't get into. But how does this very specific rule play into their larger approach?
It all goes back to that theme of eating things in their like purest, most natural form, kind of sticking to ancient dietary practices they believe are better for us. Now, we can't speak to the religious aspect, but scientifically speaking, it's more about choosing foods they consider pure, untouched by modern modifications, I guess you could say.
Got it. And along with fish, there's eggs, cheese, real cream. They even suggest making homemade stuff like creamer from raw chocolate, nuts, and berries. I actually tried that, the creamer thing, with almonds and raw chocolate. It was shockingly good. Have you experimented with any of these DIY recipes?
I haven't tried that one specifically, but I do like the whole homemade angle. It gives you control over the ingredients, cuts out all the added sugars and processed stuff they're so against.
Okay, so let's talk healthy fats. Coconut oil, olive oil, peanut oil, those are the good guys. Rancid seed oils, the kind you usually find at the store, those are the bad guys. Is this a hard and fast rule, or are they oversimplifying things?
I mean, some seed oils can definitely be part of a healthy diet, but it's true that they're more likely to go rancid, get oxidized, especially with high heat processing or if they're not stored properly. Buying good quality oils from, sources you trust is definitely important. And the author's just leaning towards oils that are naturally more stable, less prone to damage.
Right, right. And finally, they're huge on electrolytes and water. Big on making your own electrolyte drinks using filtered water. Seems like a smart, budget-friendly way to stay hydrated.
It is. Electrolytes, you need them. They keep you hydrated, help your nerves and muscles function right, basically keep your whole system balanced. And drinking enough water is extra important if you're eating a lot of whole foods and, maybe doing some fasting like they suggest.
Which, speaking of, is another big piece of their approach. They're all about fasting, especially when you're eating lots of healthy fats. Helps you feel full, gives your body a chance to reset, heal, all that good stuff. Where do you stand on fasting?
It's definitely gotten more popular lately, and there's some science backing it up. Improved insulin sensitivity, cell repair, weight management. There are potential benefits. But you got to do it safely, talk to your doctor first, especially if you have any health conditions.
So just to sum up, we've got this dietary approach that boils down to whole, unprocessed foods,
Yeah.
way less sugar, specific types of meat, healthy fats, and lots of water. Maybe even some fasting. Pretty unique, definitely goes against a lot of the conventional wisdom. What do you think is the most important thing listeners should take away from all this?
For me, it's that focus on getting back to a more, I don't know, elemental way of eating. Really questioning how all this modern food processing, all the additives are affecting our health. It's a good reminder to think about how we relate to food, both as individuals and as a culture, and where our nourishment really comes from.
Yeah, definitely makes you think. And it's a good reminder that there's no one right way to eat. It's about finding what works for you. So we encourage everyone listening to dig a little deeper, do some research, talk to your doctor, maybe try some of these ideas out, see how you feel, if your energy changes, your overall health. It's a journey, figuring out what makes you feel your best.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about.